Even when you're living your best life, bad things are bound to happen. Illness, getting hit by a car, not buying Bitcoin in 2012, being a Detroit Lions fan. So what do you need to protect your home? Your money? Your digital assets? Your family? What about your peace of mind? When you die, some, but not all of what you leave behind is considered part of your estate. For example, let's take the estate of Mr. Law Harp. The default legal process of figuring out who inherits what from his estate is called probate. In probate, the deceased's family asks a court to decide what to do with the estate's assets. Sometimes probate can be a very long, costly, and contested process, so it's usually better to either 1. Skip probate altogether, or 2. If you have to go through probate, make the process as easy as possible. But how? It's through estate planning. Let's look at the differences between two estate planning tools that are available to everyone. 1. A trust, and 2. A will. Since this is an introduction and isn't legal advice, we'll just get into the basics. With a trust, you are basically creating a new entity to hold assets. For example, the Hattie Harp Attorney at Law Trust for Children. After creating the trust, Hattie transfers his assets into the trust. This process is called funding the trust. Now the trust owns everything. Everything placed in the trust is now controlled by his documented trust instructions. And when Hattie dies, the trust lives on to continue serving its purpose. It's not so simple, though. Hattie must designate someone to run the trust and give that person power over the assets. This person is called a trustee. He must also choose who will benefit from the trust, called beneficiaries. In most cases, the creator of the trust can initially serve in the roles of trustee and beneficiary. When the creator dies or becomes incapacitated, those roles are passed on to successors that are named in the trust documents. So why do this? When a person dies, the assets owned by the trust continue to be owned and directed by the terms of the trust, not by a court. So trust-owned property can be directed, divided, and distributed by the trustee to the beneficiaries, according to the wishes of the person who set up the trust, giving them control over the assets when they are alive and when they are gone, without having to go through the probate process. So why doesn't everyone just create a trust? Well, realistically, not everyone takes this stuff seriously, at least not yet. Planning for death can be overwhelming and emotional. The upfront costs can be prohibitive. And, depending on your situation, there may be ways to avoid probate without setting up a trust. So the truth is that setting up a trust might not make sense for everyone. It really does depend on the specific circumstances and goals of each person or family. Remember when I said if you have to go through probate, there are ways to make it easier? That's what a will is for. A will is a signed statement that tells probate court things like, who should speak for you when you die? What do you want to happen with your things? Who should inherit what? And who should disinherit what, if that's what you decide. Unlike a trust, a will doesn't keep you out of probate court. It just helps facilitate the process. And since probate is a public process, the contents of your will, along with a list of all your assets and debts, will become public information for the world to see. With a will, all of your assets will most likely be distributed with no strings attached. So this means that unlike a trust, you don't get the opportunity to control your assets from the grave. In conclusion, you either front-load planning and expenses to set up a trust, which gives you maximum control and helps your family avoid the downsides of probate, or you draft a will to make your wishes as clear as possible. Your family will still have to deal with the probate process, but at least you've made it easier for everyone involved. Either choice is better than doing nothing at all. Doing nothing means that your estate plan is out of your hands and placed into the trust of the government. That's a terrible idea. If you'd like to learn more about estate planning, reach out to us at Harp Law. Our goal is to help build, sustain, and protect what matters most. Thanks for watching, and please share this video with anyone you think it might help.